everybody, Mike Jeffers. Welcome to Chicago Music Revealed. I'm back doing interviews, at least that's the plan. I'm back doing interviews. I'm actually at the Gateway Theater where I'm the general manager, and we have the Gateway Lounge, which is why we have Elaine Dame on the show today. January 23rd, she's going to be performing with her trio in the Gateway Lounge, 5216 West Lawrence Avenue. Now, this is the theater behind me, the old Gateway Theater. People probably recognize The Exorcist. People have seen that here. People have seen Jaws, but we have live concerts here constantly now, and we launched the lounge. So, Elaine, it is exciting to have you come in here and experience the Gateway Lounge. And also, it's just great to talk to you. I haven't actually seen you in person. We've talked on the phone in at least half a year or so.
I know it. Thank you for having me.
That's what
Super
happened.
excited to be at the lounge. It looks like such an amazing venue.
It is, we've been we kicked it off with Cabaret. We've had the Chi-Town Jazz Fest there. We've had a myriad of other jazz and salsa shows. So I'm excited to have you there because I think that this is one of those rooms. It's halfway between downtown Chicago and the burbs, right on Lawrence Avenue, easy to get to. And so you get kind of a different mix of people than you would downtown at the great jazz clubs downtown. So let's talk a little bit about what people can expect to hear, who's playing with you that night, and we'll get into some of the styles of music because I know you love straight ahead jazz, but you also mix in so many different styles as well, which is why I love having you here.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm going to have Tom Weitzes on piano, Sam Peters on bass, and Bob Rumage on the drums. So, these guys,
Yeah.
I do them a favor,
Yeah, I know. I try to throw them because they barely work. It's just
Yeah, they barely work, any of them. They're just, yeah. But no, I'll have those three incredible musicians with me, and we'll have so much fun together. I'm billing it as a jazz lounge collection, which is just a fun way of saying I'm going to do a mix of all different kinds of styles, of all different kinds of stuff that we love to do. So straight ahead stuff, some nice arrangements, bossa nova stuff, nice arrangements, blues. Also going to throw in some really fun pop arrangements as well. So it's a really nice mix. It's a fun mix.
That's the thing with you, and that's why I love it because you and I have known each other for, geez, I almost want to say 30 years, I think was when we first probably connected there. And,
I remember that gig we did, pardon my interruption, but I remember that gig we did at Pops for Champagne, and that was 30 years ago.
That's right. Jesus. That's right. Yeah. Pops. Yeah. Rob
That's
Amster
when I
was
first
on.
met you.
I think Rob was playing bass. That's
Rob was playing bass.
Oh,
Rob
yeah.
Amster.
Man.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
so now that we've dated ourselves, I do remember.
right.
I do remember though. I mean, we came up, we were playing straight ahead stuff. We were really into that American songbook because that's what it was back in the 90s and early 2000s. And we had the jazz clubs that did it. But, as people have grown, as people have come into the scene, you get all these different styles. And that's the thing that you pull off so well because I've heard you perform Ella Fitzgerald, but then all of a sudden you switch over and there's an R&B tune kind of jazzed up and there's a pop tune jazzed up, which I think you tell me because you're playing a lot around the city and a lot around the country. Actually, I know you go on tours and stuff. When you play those things, don't you find that you hear, oh, I hate jazz, I don't like jazz, I don't like jazz, and then you play one of those tunes and you suck the people in, and then all of a sudden it's amazing that they actually like the music that they said they didn't like, isn't it?
Right. I don't know. Yeah, I get it. There's so many ways to expose people to jazz, and there's no right or wrong way, but I think this is one of the best ways to kind of suck them in and get them turned on to the art form in general, and then hopefully they'll explore. But yeah, I mean, that's what I like to do. That's one of my goals.
Yep.
When I sing out at places, I get a lot of comments from people that say, "Wow, I didn't know that was jazz." I'm like, "Yeah, that's jazz."
Yeah. Well,
Ain't it great?
everything is jazz, really, when you mix it in. And I think that, and you and I agree on all of this. It's because it's just one of those things that it's like you get so pigeonholed into one little area, people just assume they know what it is. But really, when you glom into it, and really, I know I've said this on the show in the past a ton of times with different artists. It's the same thing with you. I think nowadays, because the radio stations are so different, you don't have like, oh, I'm going to turn on the jazz station, even though WDCB, but you don't necessarily turn on the rock station. You're turning on, I want to go hear Elaine Dame. I want to go hear Brad Meldau. I want to go hear so-and-so. You're going to see the artist and all of the music that they bring to the bandstand, as opposed to just pigeonholing people. It's just the nature of the beast, I think, these days, don't you think?
It is, yeah, it is. And that's good, I think. That's good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, my last record was a 70s inspired record with great arrangements by Chris Matson, and it was so fun. And so many people had such a good response to it because it was familiar to them and but also very, very innovative in terms of the arranging and stuff. So that was super fun. I'd like to continue to do that.
Well, and
But
that's all right in your wheelhouse too. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you do. Now, you also do a lot of teaching, and we talked about this right before we started recording, and it kind of loops into all of this. I mean, are you finding that you're getting some of the younger musicians that maybe would have first started going into different styles of music, but they realize you have to me, you have to know how to sing everything if you're going to sing jazz music, if you're going to sing the American Songbook, you have to be very fluent and very have the ability to cover all of these gamuts as opposed to certain pigeonhole,
sure.
musics. Is that what you're finding too? Is that you're bringing people in that maybe started off in one genre and all of a sudden they're like, wow, I'm really lacking in certain things. And then they hear you perform probably and say, how do you do that?
Yeah, it's interesting. That's a good question, Mike. It's really interesting because I get a lot of students that obviously find me because they want to learn more about jazz. I get a lot of classical people who want to kind of add an extra skill to their wheelhouse. I
Mhm.
get a lot of, excuse me, young kids who want to sing pop, but like I just had a new student a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, I want to learn how to sing better. She has a great voice, and she's like, I want to, I'm like, who do you listen to? And she's like, Laufey. Maybe I'm pronouncing it differently. Laufey, whatever, that woman. But she's swinging. She's swinging, and she's doing bossa nova, right? It's straight up bossa and it's straight up swing. So I
Yeah.
say, guess what? Did you know this is jazz? This is a pop influenced jazz, right? So, so yeah, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but yeah, I get a lot of people who want to come to me, and the goal is to just learn to sing all styles with ease, because I sang classical music in high school and college, so I'm trained that way. But I've learned how to sing pop and how to sing blues and how to sing bossa nova, and they're all different vocal coordinations, so yeah, there's a lot of crossover and there's a lot of I think the more you can have a different like any musician, the more you can have in terms of your tone and your tone quality and the resonant places where you put your voice, the better singer you're going to just have more at your disposal.
No,
So
100%.
yeah,
100%. I mean that's if you want to continuously grow, which you would if you really want to be an artist, you want to learn all the
right,
different styles and continue to grow. So of course I got to
right.
keep plugging this. January 23rd, you're going to be here at the Gateway Lounge. This is the Gateway Theater. Anybody that comes down, I encourage you to walk through the theater. I'll be here. So I'll take you on a tour.
Good.
Come up and ask me, and I like to always tell everybody also there's free parking that night in our lot. So stop by Lawrence Avenue and the Kennedy, essentially, 5216 West Lawrence Avenue in Chicago, Gateway Theater, Gateway Lounge at Copernicus Center, the great Copernicus Foundation, helping to put all this stuff together, brought me in here to hopefully expand all of the music and all of the arts programming in the city, which is what we're thriving to do here. So let's talk a little bit about how you first, because you're a professional musician, and a lot of people want to be a professional musician back, when you first start out, and then they realize how difficult it is to be a professional musician, because that
Yeah,
would entail that you have to actually make your living being a professional musician, which is not an easy task, which you and I both
right,
know about. What was that
right.
first moment when you said, hey, you know what? Maybe you played a gig, maybe you heard a tune, maybe you had an experience and said, you know what? I want to do this for a living. This is what I want
Right,
to do. Do you remember that
right.
moment?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I did a book called The Artist's Way. And I was an actor. I was a theater artist at the time, and I was doing a lot of good creative work with great companies, but I wasn't making a living. I was just kind of on a treadmill where I, wait tables during the day and then rehearse for a play at night and do the play and then do it all over again for years. And it was great. But I couldn't make a living at it. It was all non-equity theater.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine turned me onto this book, and it was what got me into jazz singing. I was working at a restaurant called Irwin Cafe. Remember Irwin?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, great place. Still a fond memories. But the manager of that restaurant was really into vocal jazz. That's all he played. So I heard it nonstop for years. And then fortuitously, one of the patrons there, when I decided I want to do this, I had no idea what I didn't know, right? Had I known, I probably would have been too intimidated to start. But I was that book gives you so much encouragement and so much guidance, if you will, to get started on one of these kind of creative things. And I just started. There was a piano player that I worked with who was a patron at that restaurant. Her name was Amy. She's married to Brad Lee Williams. I'm embarrassed that I can't remember her last name now. But at any rate, we rehearsed for a year, twice a week, so I could learn the repertoire. And I bought hundreds of jazz records and listened like a ad nauseum.
Yeah.
And then I went into the recording studio. It was a demo of a cassette tape.
Yeah.
So I'm really dating myself then. And then I just started pounding the pavement, like, and it just kept building. And it took me about 10 years really to establish myself. And now I'm just a working musician,
Yep.
I always have to, it's a lovely thing when people reach out to me, and that happens often now. I have repeat work in every area, corporate work, as well, because I had to learn how to diversify, right? So every artist is different. I market myself as a jazz singer who tours, who records, who teaches, who does gigs, but I also market myself as a singer who can do a corporate event or a wedding or a private party or whatever, So that's where a lot of my bread and butter comes from too. So yeah, so it's just, it's just a day-to-day sort of keep at it. I'm still
It's a
trying to
business.
really,
I mean, that's the one thing
it's a
that
business.
I think people get into music and they don't realize, because I have a lot of interns here now too, which is awesome. I love reaching out and talking to people that are wanting to get into this business, and then they get hands-on activity over here. Trust me, I throw them right into the fire. But a lot of the musicians and a lot of different people, but they don't realize that this isn't like, okay, now I graduate from college, I'm going to go get a corporate gig or something. I'm going to go get hired for $100 grand a year, and this is what I'm going to do because I have a music degree. It doesn't work that way. You are an entrepreneur, period. You are in business for yourself. And they never tell you that in music school, but you'll learn it really quick when all of a sudden you graduate and you're like, what is going on here? Oh, I have to go hustle. I have to sell. I have to put all this stuff together. And I think that's what you're talking about, because you spend 10 years learning that, because you're learning business in addition to learning the music.
Well said. Well said. You are running your own small business.
Yep.
And I've spent literally thousands and thousands of hours figuring out search engine optimization. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So yeah. So how to market yourself, how to put together a press kit.
Right.
One thing that I found interesting, I used to help book Winter's Jazz Club, and people would reach out to me and I'd say, send me your press kit. And some of them said, what's a press kit? I'm just like, oh, really? So, and at the time I was like, well, it's this. Get this together and send it to me. Right. Or they would send me like a video, like a grainy video of them, just their head singing in a club. And I'm just like, yeah, need to send me a professional video or whatever. You know what I mean? Right. So that's just as important. That stuff is just as important, because the way you present yourself, the way you market yourself is obviously that's everything.
That's the name of the game, man. You're your own brand.
Yeah. You're your own brand. Yeah, you're your own brand. And of course you got to keep up your musicianship too, which I'm constantly doing daily. So, it's a full day when you're a musician, whether you're teaching, whether you're hiring musicians, whether you're posting it on the gig, whether there's just so much involved. People think, oh, I got a gig, I'm just going to go play. It does, there's so much stuff that goes on in the background, as we know.
Yep.
As we know.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice if you could just, get out of bed at like 3 o'clock, maybe work out, take a shower, and go to the club and play for 4 hours, make a bunch of money, and then go home and do the same thing every day. That sounds good to me, but doesn't quite
Wouldn't that
work
be nice? Yeah. Wouldn't that be something?
It'd be all by yourself a lot of times, I think, at the club, because it'd be closed when you were over there. But, there you go. All right. So everybody here's my pitch now. Everybody that's watching this, come on January 23rd. 7:30 p.m. the Gateway Lounge. Elaine and I are going to talk music business for 6 hours. No, I'm just kidding. So Elaine and her trio are going to kill it at the Gateway Lounge, 5216-5216 West Lawrence Avenue, Gateway Theater at Copernicus Center. It's gatewaytheater.org. We have parking.
Yes.
We would love to see you. All the tickets are on sale. Of course, ElaineDame.com. We'll link all that stuff up down below. Elaine, I am looking forward to having you on January 23rd. Thanks so much for jumping on. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in person again, finally.
I know. I'm looking forward to playing at this venue. I'm so excited. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I thank everybody for watching. Of course, Chicago Music Revealed. And I'm going to have everything up on chicagojazz.com as usual. And until next time, hopefully I will see somebody out on the scene.